What is the worst class in Lord of the Rings Online? Let's find out. This is actually a very easy start with the Beorning, the wonderful class that can shapeshift into a bear, and how fitting that I can barely bear this class. Why? Well, where do I even start? The class has been in the game for 9 years, and it still doesn't feel like a real, fully developed LOTRO class. And the real bearer of terribleness here is the red line. Built upon the unique wrath system designed to be a limiting resource built and consumed in combat, this wild DPS spec just putts around instead of unleashing their mighty wrath. For some reason, they also have this whole line of traits unexplainably missing. But at least they are getting a much needed overhaul later this year, and who knows, maybe they'll be alright after all. As long as class size doesn't get this 12-second eternity cooldown and wrath actually matters, that is. One thing Beornings have going for them is that at least you can occasionally see them, unlike burglars. Honestly, I'm not sure they actually exist, except whenever I supposedly have a burglar on my team to help take down the enemies with their fancy tricks and whatever else they say they do, I seem to randomly have less money than I started with. Oh yeah, and what self-respecting burglar brings around swords like this? You know, I suppose at least burglars are sometimes a little bit enjoyable for going around Middle Earth and just backstabbing unsuspecting victims at least. Wait a minute, why are brawlers after burglar if we're going in alphabetical order? Well, that's because I forgot about the class. Every single time I do anything related to classes in LOTRO, I forget the brawler exists. Despite them punching their way to a real class and their fancy animations, they just aren't memorable. Maybe if they knew their own identity, I would actually pick up on what they are and remember. Sorry, I spent so long applying buffs that I forgot what I was saying. But identity crisis and buff bloat aside, it sure is satisfying to punch skeletons until you accidentally click pummel and realize it does negative damage. This is the secret of captains, supposed leaders of the battlefield, always running away from the orcs. On the rare occasion that they do fight though, the captain class is designed for the unique halberd weapon that my character looks like he has actually never seen such a thing, and with every attack he's like stuck for a second just processing, how do I use this thing to whack the enemy and inspire the fellowship? But honestly, really, who cares when you have Gallant Display, the least boring ability in the entire game? As for champions, I don't know what they're championing for because it sure ain't a great LOTRO class. I mean, if you play a champion, why pick LOTRO as your lawnmower simulator? Surely there are better games for that. This class also breaks the laws of physics in the most ridiculous way possible, with Raging Blade here having a 27-foot range. I mean, my entire apartment here isn't even 27 feet across. Anyway, after slicing everything halfway across Middle Earth, you could use Bladestorm, but that ability is hardly worth the storm name, and it is more like a power of an ant tap. And for a final blow to the champion, I would use Merciful Strike, but last I checked that is so weak that it actually does indeed heal the enemy. But hey, at least champions are sort of fun sometimes. Oh, and dear SSG, dual wield base champion tank win? Fierce warriors, protectors of the weak, defenders of the free, I present to you the mighty guardian, who must be absolutely terrified of any real danger. All that guardians seem to do is just hide behind their shields. I don't know how they can expect to actually guard anything like that. And some guardians actually, they roleplay as champions, pretending they can be offensive warriors or something. The problem is they try to do it all while doing nothing good. They have bleeds, they have AoEs, quick attacks, heavy hits, reactions, buffs, debuffs, you name it. The Guardian DPS tries it, and usually quite poorly. But who am I kidding? I love playing my DPS Guardian. No hunting is necessary to find the fault with the hunter. Their silly traps leave a giant red square on the ground that no enemy or animal would be stupid enough to walk into and get trapped. They have some random AoE being basically the strongest damage dealer in their kit, besides their special heart-seeking ability that is such an inordinate task for hunters to shoot their arrow out of their bow that they need a whole minute of recovery before even doing it again. And Upshot here is wonderful for high-level hunters, practically ensuring the death of any living creature in Middle Earth, but if you play a low-level hunter, you wouldn't even notice that the developers deleted Upshot from the game because it's so weak. I also have no idea why Swiftbow is named that way, because it is their second least swift ability behind Heartseeker. And I could go on, but all hunters have already hunted a full raid and traveled 700 kilometers across Middle Earth. Lore Masters are so exciting that you spend literal minutes twirling your staff in a fancy manner, reading books in the middle of epic fights, and making weird rubbing motions with your hands just to slightly weaken enemies so that all your friends can kill the enemies that they were going to kill anyway. And don't even get me started on Gust of Wind and Nature's Fury. Do you see the wind on those? They are basically gentle breeze and should just heal enemies instead. And how about Wizard's Fire and Wizard's Frost? What's next? Wizard's Lightning? And wait a minute, I actually knew I forgot something here. Just like the Brawler, the Lore Master pets are so forgettable. But with pets, I would bring up Sikkim, but that was a tragedy that even Lore Masters don't deserve the reminder of. At least Lore Masters still have Lightning Storm though. It's the best ability in the entire game. The next class tier is so terrible that it's not even in the game yet. Can you imagine being that bad? I mean, that's almost as bad as I am at LOTRO. And who do they think they are with their sea shanties? This is Middle Earth, a very serious world where no one is allowed to have fun. And despite their supposed seafaring skills, let's not forget they've never even won the World Series. At least they tricked everyone into thinking they were Corsairs, though. You know how ridiculous it is that playing music can heal allies? Well, actually, that's not very ridiculous. It kind of makes sense, right? Well, then tell me, why does playing music damage enemies? That one makes no sense at all. Here you go, nice goblin. Enjoy my bagpipes. Oh, wait, you're dead. Anyway, minstrels are also just like so whiny with all their cries. It gets kind of annoying, you know? At least this class does allow me to pretend that I'm playing Nightfall in Middle Earth in Middle Earth. Rune Keepers, they really confuse me because I would be convinced that they are fakes, but they actually do bring results. They actually speak into rocks, which somehow creates massive lightning, fire, and frost attacks. Sometimes these rocks even decide to just heal allies. I really wonder how this silly concept even made it into the game. Then again, the developers call themselves Standing Stone Games, and Rune Keepers literally summon standing stones. I would say dev bias, except Fire Rune Keeper is like actually half lightning, which kind of sucks, and it's just kind of clunky, you know? But at least full lightning is kind of decent, and hey, Rune Keepers can dish out quite the healing. You know, I say that Warden is my favorite class, but honestly, they are just terrible. The Gamut system is basically a half-baked combo system that belongs in a fighter class. They also claim to be the kings of solo, yet I can't even solo the new raid. What gives? Also, look how long it takes me to kill this poor wolf. And look here how bad this rotation is, if you can even call it that. I actually think I know the real issue here, though. It's not actually the Warden, is it? I think the issue is the pilot. Maybe Wardens are fine, except actually Redline. That one needs some work after the revamp. I mean, their advanced techniques are so basic that even a champion would know how to use them. Also, how long do all these Wardens have to delay the instance just so they can do their workout routine before every single fight? I mean, I have places to be, chests to loot, and Umbar to sail to. I don't have time for 700 Warden dances every instance. And we're really only scratching the surface here. The Warden is surely the worst class in the entire game. At least Beornings, they can turn into awesome bears. Burglars can burgle the entirety of the Numinos. Captains can properly inspire the Fellowship. Champions, they can mow the lawn. Guardians can be a literal shield wall on their own. Brawlers can even sometimes be remembered. Hunters can one-shot enemies without ever being seen. Lore Master cause just utter destruction. Mariners, they can do totally epic stuff. Minstrels can just sing epic tales so powerful that enemies just sorta die. Rune Keepers, they can call upon a snowy storm of fire and lightning. And what can Wardens do? None of that. They are truly deserving of my favorite class in the entire MMO genre. I feel bad.